A key turning in the lock at 11:47 p.m., the sharp scent of lemon in an empty apartment, a CEO on her knees scrubbing the floor. With that discovery, Ethan realized it wasn't just a bizarre break-in. It was proof that someone had been quietly dismantling his life from the inside, leaving no fingerprints behind. It was a calculated scheme to steal wages, forge evaluations, and keep people too exhausted to fight back. A plan that would have worked if he hadn't come home too early. This is the story of how one door opening at the wrong time changed 3 lives forever. Ethan Parker's hands trembled as he turned the key. 11:47 p.m. Again, the apartment door swung open to darkness, except it wasn't quite dark. A soft glow spilled from the kitchen, and the air smelled wrong. Not still like usual, clean, lemony. His pulse spiked. Lily was at his sister's. No one should be here. He moved silently through the living room, past toys he'd meant to pick up for 3 days. The kitchen light revealed something impossible. A woman in a tailored gray blazer, sleeves rolled up, scrubbing his countertop with methodical precision. Claire Harrington, his CEO, kneeling on his linoleum floor. She looked up, no shock, no guilt, just exhaustion that mirrored his own. Mr. Parker. Her voice was steady, professional even now. I know this looks. Get out. The words came out hoarse. If you call the cops, you'll regret it by Monday morning, because this isn't just about me. She stood slowly, setting down the sponge. What I'm going to tell you will change everything. She paused, and in that silence, Ethan heard his own heartbeat. And you need to hear it before Monday morning. And Ethan didn't know it yet. But the next sentence would explain why he'd been disappearing from his daughter's life. How did you even? Ethan's voice cracked. How did you get in here? Claire's jaw tightened. Your landlord. I told him there was a gas leak reported. I lied. She met his eyes. Because what I found in your payroll could send people to prison. Ethan backed toward the door, phone in hand. You broke into my home. I came to apologize for what we did to you. What I let happen. We? Ethan's thumb hovered over 911. Lady, I don't know what corporate guilt trip you're on, but Mark Delaney has been stealing from you and from 12 other employees. He created phantom workers on the books, pocketed their salaries, then fabricated your performance reviews to keep you exploitable. That raise you requested 7 months ago? Denied with a fake evaluation. My raise ... Ethan's voice went hollow. Wasn't inconsistent performance? I wasn't crazy? You weren't crazy. You were being systematically destroyed. Claire's voice hardened. That technician lead position? Blocked with a falsified safety set you actually passed with honors. I have the original documents. The phone slipped in Ethan's grip. His throat had gone dry. And the approval trail leads higher than you think. Why now? Ethan heard himself ask. Why tonight? Claire looked away. Because I found out 3 days ago, and I haven't slept since. Claire moved to the small kitchen table, Ethan's table, and opened a folder he hadn't noticed she'd brought. Look at this. She pointed to a spreadsheet. These are your actual clock-in times for the last 18 months. Now look at these. She flipped a page. Department schedules. You've been covering emergency response, night maintenance, and weekend facilities. 3 full positions. Ethan stared at the columns. His name, repeated across shifts that should have been impossible. He'd thought he was just working hard, being dependable. Mark created 2 fake employee profiles, collected their salaries through shell LLCs, then buried your complaints as attitude problems when you pushed back. Claire's hands curled into fists on the table. And here's the part that made me show up tonight. You weren't the only one. Ethan felt his knees weaken. He sat down hard in the opposite chair. 4 departments, 15 people. And some of them are working themselves sick. You're the CEO. Ethan's voice came out raw. You're telling me you didn't know? Claire flinched like he'd struck her. I didn't look. I trusted department heads to manage their teams while I chased quarterly projections and board meetings. She exhaled shakily. I built a company where this could happen, and I didn't notice until an intern found discrepancies in payroll reconciliation. An intern noticed. Not you. Not me. The admission seemed to cost her something. I've spent 3 days tracing every transaction, reading every complaint that got filed and ignored, every request that vanished. Your name kept appearing, over and over. And I realized I couldn't hide behind HR protocols. I had to face you. Claire looked up and Ethan saw something broken behind her executive mask. You were working yourself to death while I signed off on budgets that included your stolen wages. The least I could do was see where you live. See what all those extra shifts were costing you. She leaned forward. If this becomes public, the company collapses and I lose everything. Ethan glanced around his apartment. Dishes in the sink. Lily's homework scattered on the couch. A life held together with duct tape and desperation. You can't fix this with cleaning supplies. I know, Claire's voice cracked. But I had to do something with my hands or I was going to lose my mind. Silence stretched between them. Outside, a siren wailed past. You want to know the worst part? Claire didn't wait for an answer. I have a corner office and 5,000 LinkedIn connections. But I can't remember the last time someone called just to check on me. Ethan wanted to stay angry. He should stay angry. She pulled something from her jacket pocket, a crumpled piece of paper, smoothed out carefully. A child's drawing. Purple butterfly, yellow sun, stick figures holding hands. This was on your fridge. Claire's voice went soft. The magnet said, "To Daddy, love Lily." When's the last time you saw her draw? Ethan's chest tightened. Last week, maybe. He couldn't remember. I work nights. She's usually asleep when I leave, asleep when I get home. Do you know what I would give to have someone draw me a butterfly? Claire set the picture down carefully. To matter to someone that way? Ethan looked at her, really looked. Dark circles under her eyes. Tension lines around her mouth. Expensive suit that couldn't hide how alone she was. This doesn't make us even, he said finally. No, it doesn't, Claire straightened. Which is why I'm not just apologizing. I'm making this right. All of it. Starting Monday. Right. Ethan's suspicion flared back. And what's the catch? The catch, Claire said quietly, is that I'm asking you to trust someone who didn't earn it. And I'm gambling that doing the right thing might make me feel human again. Then Ethan heard a sound that didn't belong in that apartment at midnight. Daddy? Lily stood in the doorway, drowsy-eyed, clutching her worn stuffed bunny. She must have snuck back in while they were talking. His sister's apartment was just upstairs. Hey, Firefly. Ethan's voice shifted instantly, softening. What are you doing up? Heard voices. Lily's gaze fixed on Claire with the unnervingly direct stare only children manage. Who are you? Claire seemed to freeze. Then, slowly she knelt to Lily's eye level. I'm Claire. I work with your dad. Lily studied her. Are you Daddy's friend? He's always too tired to have friends. The question hung in the air like a grenade. Ethan felt something crack in his chest. Lily, sweetheart, is that why you're here? Lily asked Claire. To help Daddy not be tired? Claire's professional mask shattered completely. Yes, she whispered. That's exactly why I'm here. Lily considered this, then held out her bunny. Mr. Hops helps when I'm sad. You can borrow him if you're sad too. Claire's hand trembled as she took the stuffed animal. Thank you, Lily. That's very kind. Okay. Good night. Lily padded back to her room as casually as she'd arrived, leaving a silence that felt bigger than the apartment. Claire stared at the bunny in her hands. When she looked up, tears tracked down her face. I can't remember the last time someone offered me comfort. Her voice broke. I can't remember the last time anyone saw me as someone who might need it. Ethan wanted to hold on to his anger. He should. But watching this untouchable CEO crying over his daughter's stuffed rabbit, he felt something shift. "Monday," he said finally. "You said you'd make it right. What does that actually mean?" Claire wiped her face quickly, trying to rebuild her composure. "First, Mark Delaney will be terminated. With cause. No severance. I've already contacted legal. They're building the case. And the others? Everyone involved. Removed. I'm bringing in an external firm to audit every department. If there are more schemes like this, we'll find them." She pulled out her phone, showed him a document. "This is a draft of new policies. Anonymous reporting system. Mandatory quarterly payroll audits. Direct channels to HR and legal that bypass supervisors." Ethan scanned the screen. It looked real, detailed, not something thrown together for show. "Your back pay." Claire pulled out another document. 18 months of wages for the work you covered, plus interest, plus compensation for the emotional distress and lost opportunities. She slid the page forward. One line circled in red, $134,000. Ethan stared. The number didn't seem real. "People will notice," Claire said quietly. "You'll become a symbol inside the company. People will either thank you or blame you. I'm not built for that." Ethan's voice was barely audible. "You're the only one who can do it," Claire said. Ethan swallowed. "I don't care about the number. I care if this is real. If you're actually going to change things, or if this is just damage control before I sue." Claire met his eyes. "You could sue. You'd win. But that takes years, and it doesn't help the other 14 people Mark and his buddies exploited. It doesn't fix the culture that let this happen. So fix it." "I'm trying." Claire's voice hardened with determination. "But I need you to tell me the truth. What you need. What would actually make a difference?" Ethan thought about Lily's drawing. About 3 years of missing bedtimes and school plays and the small moments that make up a childhood. "I need normal hours. I need to tuck my daughter in at night and be there when she wakes up. I need to stop choosing between keeping the lights on and being a father. Done. Day shift. Supervisory rate. Immediate start." But there was one condition she still hadn't said out loud. "And I want to see the others made whole too." "Not just me." Claire nodded. "That's the condition. You give legal a full statement. Everything Mark did, everything you saw. No backing out once we file." Ethan's jaw tightened. "You're asking me to become the face of this. I'm asking you to make sure it sticks. Anonymous reports won't hold up in court. Your testimony will." She paused. "Everyone gets audited wages, restitution, and priority for open positions. No retaliation. I'm putting my personal guarantee in writing." "Why?" Ethan leaned forward. "Why does this matter so much to you?" "Because I looked at your life tonight, at what those extra shifts cost you, and realized I've been doing the exact same thing to myself." Claire's voice went quiet. "Except I had a choice. I chose the company over everything else. Over relationships, over humanity. I built something successful and empty." She looked toward the hallway where Lily had disappeared. "Your daughter sees you as someone worth loving even when you're exhausted. When's the last time someone saw me as anything but the woman who signs their paychecks?" "So this is about you feeling better?" "No." Claire's voice turned fierce. "This is about doing what I should have done 3 years ago. And yes, maybe along the way, I'll figure out how to be a person again instead of just a title." Ethan studied her. The vulnerability looked real. The plan looked solid. But trust wasn't something he gave easily anymore. "I need time to think." "Take all the time you need." "But Ethan," Claire stood, carefully setting Mr. Hops on the table. "Monday morning, those changes start whether you're part of them or not. I can't undo what happened. But I can damn well make sure it doesn't happen again." She moved toward the door, then paused. "Thank you for not calling the cops, and tell Lily. Tell her Mr. Hops helped." 8 weeks later, Ethan walked into Stonebridge Systems at 8 a.m., not midnight, and felt like an imposter. On the first Monday after Mark's termination, Claire did something CEOs never do, and the entire company went silent. She stood in front of all 400 employees and told them exactly what happened. No PR spin, no corporate jargon, just "we failed you. Here's how we're fixing it." The external audit found 2 more supervisors running similar schemes. 3 weeks of whispered lawsuits and bankruptcy fears followed, but Claire hadn't backed down. Delaney wasn't alone. Legal found signatures above him. Department heads who'd looked the other way. Middle management who'd profited from the silence. The maintenance office had been restructured, new supervisor, 3 full-time technicians where Mark had pretended 7 people worked, anonymous tip line posters in every break room. Ethan's back pay had arrived in his account with a formal apology letter. 14 other employees got similar letters. 3 got promoted. 2 quit anyway, trust too broken to rebuild. Ethan had stayed, partly because the day shift supervisor role came with actual support staff and reasonable expectations, partly because he was curious, and partly because of the butterfly drawing that now sat framed in his new office, a gift from Claire that had arrived with no note, just careful packaging. "Morning, Parker." His new colleague, Jenkins, waved a coffee cup. "Got time to review the equipment rotation schedule?" Normal questions, normal problems. Ethan had almost forgotten what normal felt like. His phone buzzed. A text from his sister. "Lily wants to know if you're coming to her school thing tonight. She's been talking about it all week." Ethan checked his schedule. Off at 4:30. Plenty of time. "Tell her I'll be there," he typed back. "Front row." The response came immediately. "She's going to flip. She's been drawing you a surprise all week." Ethan smiled despite himself. He'd seen 3 school performances in the last 2 months. Had dinner with Lily 6 nights a week. Helped with homework. Read bedtime stories. Small things that felt massive. "Parker?" Jenkins interrupted his thoughts. "You good?" "Yeah." Ethan pocketed his phone. "Better than good. Let's see that schedule." Just when Ethan believed life was finally normal. She came back. 3 months in, Claire showed up at Ethan's apartment again, this time knocking. "Bad idea?" she asked when he opened the door, uncertainty written across her face. "Depends on why you're here." "Lily invited me." Claire held up a drawing, the same purple butterfly style, but this one had 3 stick figures. "She mailed this to my office, with a note that said, 'Please come to dinner. Daddy makes good spaghetti.'" Ethan groaned. "She's been asking about you. I told her you were busy." "I was, but I'm trying to get better at not being busy every single night." Claire shifted her weight. "If this is weird, it's weird," Ethan confirmed. "Come in anyway." The dinner was chaos. Lily talked nonstop about her science project. The spaghetti sauce was slightly burnt. Claire looked completely out of her element trying to help serve garlic bread while Lily explained the difference between butterflies and moths with intense 7-year-old authority. Ethan didn't see the envelope Claire left on the counter, small, cream-colored, with Lily's name written in careful script. "And this one," Lily pointed to a photo in her nature book, "is called a monarch, and it flies all the way to Mexico." "Can we go to Mexico, Daddy?" "Maybe someday, Firefly." "Claire, will you come too?" Claire froze mid-bite. Looked to Ethan. "We'll see," Ethan said diplomatically. "That's a long way off." After dinner, Lily dragged Claire to see her room, showing off drawings and rock collections and an elaborate story about why Mr. Hops needed a friend. Ethan cleaned up, listening to his daughter's laughter echoing down the hall. Lily had been writing Claire letters for weeks, colorful envelopes stacked in her desk drawer, each one asking if Claire could come to dinner, come to soccer, come be part of their small world. One of the letters had just 3 words, "Please come back." When Claire emerged, she looked different, softer, less like the CEO who'd knelt on his floor 3 months ago, and more like someone who just remembered how to breathe. "She's amazing," Claire said quietly. "She is." Ethan dried the last plate. "And she likes you, which is terrifying?" I was going to say complicated. They stood in the small kitchen, two people who'd been strangers thrown together by corporate malfeasance and midnight confessions. I never actually said the words out loud. Claire's voice went quiet. "So, I'm sorry. For what I let happen, for breaking in, for thinking I could fix exploitation with cleaning supplies. You know what the weirdest part is? That night might have been the most honest conversation I'd had in 3 years. Everyone else treated me like I was fine because I kept showing up. You were the first person who saw I was drowning. Because I was drowning too." Claire's admission came quietly. "Still am, some days. Turns out restructuring a company is easier than restructuring yourself. Therapy helps." I started going. Ethan surprised himself by saying it. Someone at work mentioned the new benefits included mental health coverage. 6 sessions so far. That policy was my idea. Self-serving, maybe. I'm on session 12. Claire smiled slightly. "My therapist says I have pathological emotional avoidance." I told her I prefer strategically compartmentalized. Ethan laughed, actual laughter that felt foreign and good. "What did she say to that?" "That I proved her point." Lily appeared in the doorway, yawning. "Are you staying, Claire?" "Oh, sweetie, I should. Just for a little bit." Lily held up Mr. Hops hopefully. "We could watch a movie." "Daddy lets me stay up late on Fridays." Claire looked to Ethan, questioning. He should say no. Keep boundaries clear. But Lily looked so hopeful, and Claire looked so uncertain. And somehow in the chaos of the last 3 months, something impossible had started to take root. "One movie," Ethan conceded. "But something short." They ended up on the couch, Lily between them, wrapped in blankets, fighting sleep while animated characters sang about adventure. Claire looked stiff at first, unsure where to put her hands, how to sit, whether she belonged in this small domestic space. Then Lily's head drooped onto Claire's shoulder, and something in Claire's expression cracked open. Ethan watched her carefully adjust so Lily could sleep more comfortably, watched her unconsciously stroke the child's hair with the same gentleness she'd shown that first night with Mr. Hops, this untouchable CEO who'd forgotten what human connection felt like, learning it again through a 7-year-old's unconditional acceptance. "She trusts you," Ethan said quietly, not wanting to wake Lily. "I don't deserve it. None of us deserve the grace we get. We just have to earn the trust that comes after." Claire looked at him, really looked, and something passed between them, understanding, maybe, or recognition. Two people who'd been hollowed out by life finding unexpected shelter in each other's brokenness. "I should put her to bed," Ethan said eventually. "I should go." But Claire stayed while Ethan carried Lily to her room, tucking her in with practiced efficiency. Stayed while he returned to find her studying the drawings on his fridge. Weeks of purple butterflies, evidence of a child's love rendered in marker and crayon. Then he noticed the envelope on the counter. "What's this?" Claire smiled, hesitant. "Lily asked me for tickets to the Science Museum. For her birthday, I might have gone overboard. Family pass, year-long." Ethan stared at the envelope. "Claire, you don't have to." "I know." "But I wanted to." She met his eyes. "Can I come back? Not for work, not for guilt. Just to see where it goes?" He thought about the last 3 months. The changes at work, the therapy sessions, the slow process of rebuilding a life that felt sustainable instead of survivable. And he thought about Claire, damaged and trying, earnest in her awkwardness, learning to be human again one uncomfortable step at a time. Lily has a soccer game next Saturday, 10 a.m. at Lincoln Park. Claire's face transformed. "I'll be there. Don't be late." She takes it seriously. "I'm never late." "Right." Ethan smiled despite himself. "CEO thing." Reformed CEO thing. I'm trying to get better at work-life balance. Claire opened the door, then turned back. Ethan, thank you for giving me a chance when you had every reason not to. Thank you for showing up that night, even if it was weird and illegal. Especially because it was weird and illegal. Maybe. She left with a small wave, and Ethan closed the door behind her, leaning against it. His apartment still smelled like burnt spaghetti sauce. Lily's toys were scattered across the living room. Dishes sat in the sink. But underneath it all, something had shifted. Something that felt like possibility. 6 months later, Ethan stood in the backyard of a house, his house, purchased with back pay and a reasonable mortgage instead of predatory desperation, watching Lily chase butterflies through grass that needed mowing. Claire sat on the porch steps beside him, comfortable in jeans and an old sweater that looked nothing like her CEO armor. She's got your determination, Claire observed as Lily stalked a monarch with scientific intensity. She's got her mother's curiosity. Used to drive me crazy, all the questions. Now I'm grateful for every single one. They'd been doing this for months, dinner once a week, soccer games, homework help, the slow building of something neither of them could quite name. Not romance, not exactly. Not just friendship either. Something in between, built on honesty and shared damage and a 7-year-old's insistence that Claire belonged at their table. Board meeting next week, Claire said absently. They want to expand the employee advocacy program to all regional offices. That's good. It's because of you. You know that, right? You refused to settle quietly, insisted on structural change, held me accountable. She nudged his shoulder. You're basically my corporate conscience now. Worst job ever. The benefits are terrible. The benefits include dinner invitations and butterfly chasing. That's not nothing. Lily ran up, breathless. Did you see? I almost caught one. Almost doesn't count, Firefly, but I'm getting better, she turned to Claire. Will you come to my birthday party? I'm gonna be 8 and we're having cake and I wouldn't miss it, Claire said immediately. Lily beamed and ran off again, tireless in her joy. You're good with her, Ethan said. I'm learning. She's patient. Claire watched Lily's small figure dart across the grass. I never thought I'd have this connection that wasn't about what I could provide or accomplish. Just being enough because I showed up. You almost didn't show up that night. I know. Claire's voice went quiet. I almost sent HR, almost delegated it, almost let it become another corporate problem solved through proper channels. What changed your mind? I looked at your file, saw your daughter's name as your emergency contact, saw that you declined health insurance upgrades 3 times to save money, saw notes about missed promotions and blocked raises and 18 months of someone systematically destroying you. She paused. And I realized if I couldn't face you directly, I had no business being in charge of anyone. Ethan thought about that night, the shock, the anger, the impossible beginning of something he never could have predicted. 2 people broken in different ways, learning to build something neither of them had blueprints for. I'm glad you broke in, he said finally, even though it was completely insane. Best terrible decision I ever made. Lily called from across the yard, waving them over to see something she'd found. They stood together, moving toward her voice, toward the life they were building one awkward conversation at a time. Not perfect, not simple, but real. And sometimes real is enough. If a moment in this story reminded you of when someone chose courage over convenience, either for you or someone you know, drop a comment below and tell me which part hit you hardest.